What's up, folks? This is Justin, and you are listening to the Welcome to Your Doom Show. This is episode number 71, and Atul and I we're ranking the Halloween films, all 13 of those mamma jammas. Do you agree with our lists? Do you not agree with our lists? I will be the first to admit, given it's my list, that it's my opinion. It's not necessarily the definitive list by any means, but it's what I like, and you got to deal with it. Atul and I were recording this podcast remotely, so our audio is slightly different, but you can see, you can check us out on YouTube and you'll see just kind of how we put it all together. Atul was also filming in his backyard, so he's got kind of a cool little ambiance to him. But in any case, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you're checking us out on YouTube, please, wherever you're listening to this or watching this, please like and subscribe and all that stuff, because it does help us out a little. So thanks in advance, and we hope you enjoy the episode. Ladies and gentlemen,
welcome to your doom.
What's up, folks? This is Justin.
This is Atul.
That was anticlimactic. I was so much higher than you.
Yep.
We are your harbingers of doom. We have a special Halloween episode, specifically about Halloween. So in our last episode, I think it was episode 70, we alluded to wanting to go through the Halloween franchise and rank some of these films. And I have done so. I put together my rankings, and Atul, I think he has kind of rankings in his head, but hasn't formally put them down.
Yeah.
So the way that we're going to do this is we'll go through this list, and we can talk about, what is in my order, and then Atul can tell me when I'm full of shit, and he can tell me when I'm dead on. And I think that's the format.
I like this format because I had to do basically no work for it, and I get to listen to your ranking and just tell you how full of shit you are, and just throw rotten tomatoes at all of your ideas and thoughts and opinions. I like this. This is great. But there's one thing we need to highlight before we get started.
What's that?
The fact that my lights just went out.
Oh,
so that's
Jesus
one
Christ.
thing. First off, yeah, that's all right. I think I got this heat lamp out here. You might be wondering why I'm talking about lights going out in my heat lamp. Is because I'm outside on my deck. Where better to record a podcast about the Halloween franchise than in the out of doors in suburbia in Toronto? This is basically Michael Myers, heaven.
It kind of is,
ground.
yeah. That's a good
stalking the streets of the suburbs at night on the day before Halloween was when we were recording this, which is it's the 30th.
Right
Today,
yes.
So this is perfect.
Yeah.
I've got a little ambiance going here. It's nice. I got a lot of Halloween decorations up in the back.
Mm-hmm.
I just moved a bunch of them to the front yard today.
Yeah.
In preparation for tomorrow. But a couple of things is that my wife is inside watching TV, and there's no place for me to record right now without picking up Gilmore Girls in the background. So that's one thing. Second,
she literally kicked you out of
thing,
the house.
Yeah. So I'm now sitting outside, and I was like, I'll turn on the fire pit and it'll be cool. And I'm like, but no, because the fire pit really has that hissing sort of gas sound when it's on. You've heard that before.
Yes. Yeah.
And so now I just whipped out my electrical sort of heat lamp. So that's what's on, and that's what's giving us this nice sort of orange glow on my face. I look like cafeteria fries right now, but
it's a good look.
And I'm probably getting a tan because it's one of those infrared ones. But right now, what's temperature right now? It's
cold. Cold as balls.
I can't. Yeah, it's pretty cold. I don't know if you could see. I could see my breath out here, but it's nice. It's a really beautiful night. The moon is out, no clouds, and it's not windy. So yeah, that's
you're basically
my
living
story
the dream.
about why I'm outside. Yeah, this is the dream. This is the perfect scene for Michael Myers to stalk and hurt me, and creep up on me in the background, just like on my webcam, just like Halloween Resurrection.
Okay.
So now that's our segue back into the Halloween franchise. We go, and Justin's gone.
That was
and he's gone. Okay, there he's back. Okay.
And I should be ashamed.
Yes,
of
it
myself.
was. You should.
Yeah. So, all right. Well.
All right, we're back. Go for it. Go for it.
I'm
Give
in
me
my
your
basement.
first
I
shitty
honestly
opinion.
have nothing as exciting
Shitty
to explain
opinions.
about, so I'm going to talk
Let's
about
go.
my shitty opinions.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go. Let's go.
In no particular order.
Wait, okay, first of all,
What?
sorry. Before we get started, for anyone who's listening, how many Halloween films are there?
That is a good question, Atul Kachru. So, 1,
Let's count.
2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 films.
Great. Yeah. I came to the same number, I think.
Yeah. So there's the original 8,
It's 6.
I guess, plus 2 reboots would bring
No,
you to 10. Yeah.
No, wait. It's 6, 2. Oh, it's not 6.
It's 8.
I
H2O
forgot.
and
I forgot a
Resurrection.
whole bunch of.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Then,
it. Yes. Oh God.
then
Yes.
zombies films bring it to a nice even 10, and then you got the new.
You got the trilogy.
The new trilogy. Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So my ranking, like I said, this is actually in a particular order. I said no particular order as a joke, but nobody caught that. So I'm just going to live with my joke and make myself happy.
You're ranking in no particular order.
Shut
Let's go.
the fuck. Okay. At number 13, now that I know the numbers. At number 13, last place, my least favorite Halloween film of all time is Halloween 6, The Revenge of Michael Myers. I hate that film.
All right.
I hate it for so many reasons. But more than anything, I've always liked Loomis. I've liked his, I don't know if I'd call it growth, but his severe transitions throughout the series. And this one is just, he's barely there for reasons that are fairly obvious, but he's barely there. And when he's there, he's given nothing to do. And I think he passed away before the film was complete, so they used whatever they could with the actual film itself. But there was not enough meat in this film, in my opinion, for the Loomis character to even justify keeping him in. They really should have just reshot everything. There was maybe 15 minutes of screen time of Loomis, and none of it felt connected. So to me, it was just, that's one of the things that bothered me the most about this film. The music sucked. They just had random guitar riffs all of a sudden, just like you'd have Michael Myers walking through a hallway and it's just like dun dun dun. I'm like, did somebody just step on a cat? What the fuck is that? I could not stand so much of this film. I'd have to rewatch. I didn't actually rewatch it this year. Maybe, yeah, I haven't rewatched it this year. I feel like I didn't like the mask in this one either. There were a couple of creative kills that I liked. I'd have to look at the mask somewhere, but there were a couple of creative kills, especially there was the one with, I think it was an axe. There was the axe in the laundry outside that was kind of fun.
Oh yeah, the other instance of Michael doing laundry.
Yes,
that was in Halloween 6.
Yep, that was in Halloween 6. There was the washing machine stuff with that terrible dad. I couldn't stand him either. There was just to me, there was really no likable characters in this entire movie. Paul Rudd was unbearable to watch. And
Paul Rudd.
It was,
I forgot about him.
And I hate saying that. He's so weird. And I love Paul Rudd. I enjoy Paul Rudd in pretty much everything he does. And just seeing him in this movie, I'm just like, I can't. It just nothing about this movie I liked. Nothing. It all kind of at the very end of the film kind of comes to this quote unquote epic conclusion. It's really not. They just beat him down and then they walk out. And then, sleepy old Loomis comes out and he's like, I need to go in and see for myself, or whatever he says. And then I don't think you even see him walk in. It just cuts to his mask, and then all of a sudden you hear Loomis screaming from Halloween 2. It's such a poor send-off for Donald Pleasance, and it really upsets me to this day. That's why it's my least favorite Halloween movie.
You could have edited something together that was better than that, certainly. So remind me again, because I've seen this movie maybe twice. And both times I think I was having drinks and kind of doing other things. But at the same time, I think both times might have been in your backyard on the projector.
Yeah, probably.
So this movie is the one, remind me again, it's the one where There's actually one great sequence in this movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it involves the wife that looks like Janine from Ghostbusters,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's trying to leave the house because she knows someone's called her. Did someone call her or something like that? Or
Yeah.
she knows something's going
Yes.
on or that Michael's back,
Yeah.
and she's trying to leave. And that's a great, I think that's actually a legitimately excellent sequence in a movie that is not good.
Right.
It's not a very good movie.
Yeah. It's and
This is also
that's
the one with
I was
yeah.
gonna say that's what
Sorry, go ahead.
transitions because they ratchet up a lot of suspense around that because you really don't know where he's going, and then she goes into laundry and you're like, oh, we know where he is now.
Oh
This
yeah,
is his jam. This is where he hangs out.
that's
He
correct.
hangs out in the
That's correct.
linens.
Yeah, yes, he's in the linens. And how many folks are drying laundry in that cold October weather? Apparently, a lot of people because he's hanging out by the clotheslines all the time.
Yeah,
He likes his white sparkling.
and I'm pretty sure they had a dryer downstairs in their laundry room, so I don't know why they're doing it out there. Maybe to save money, you know?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've been hit by tough times, and that father, he's not really doing a whole lot to bring in the dough. He's just really busy beating the shit out of his wife, and I don't know what was he doing, like hitting on his kid. I don't know.
He
I
was
don't know. I'm
just a
just making
gross
stuff
human
up
being.
now.
I don't know if he was hitting on his kid, but if somebody told me he was, I'd be like, I'd expect that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yes. But I do want to shout out that particular sequence. It's really, really well done.
that's a
No,
good
I
call out.
agree with this. Nothing in this movie makes any sense.
Nothing.
Like that's the pro. Like my biggest issue with the movie is that nothing makes sense because Michael's either part of the cult of Thorn or he's not part of the cult of Thorn. Like they are controlling him or they are not controlling him. He goes to them and they try to run the ritual and then he just goes and runs around and kills all of the cultists. So it's like it does nothing makes any sense. There's like the man in black from like the previous movie who like shoots up a police. Like nothing here makes it literally. It's literally like they were just making things up as they went,
Yeah,
and it truly feels like that. Because I feel like some other movies in this series are not very good, but they're cohesive movies.
yeah,
Like they're not poorly made. They're just like they may not be very good, but they're not they're like they don't feel like someone was just making shit up.
yeah,
Like on the day, we're like, okay, we're on this set, let's just do this,
yeah,
and that's what this movie feels like.
yeah, exactly.
Um,
100%. So that's number 13.
yeah, I'm okay.
In it,
I'm okay. Let's go.
all right, all right. At number 12 is Halloween 2 from Rob Zombie.
Ooh, wow, that's way lower on the list than I thought
Yeah.
that was going to be.
Well, for me, I
Yeah,
mean, we discussed it I don't want to say at length too much in the last podcast, but we
yeah,
discussed it
yeah,
quite a
yeah,
bit. And that's
yeah,
just another one of those ones that just didn't give me the Halloween franchise vibes that I was really hoping for. And I was thinking about it a little bit more where, I was trying to really analyze like what do I like so much about the first Rob Zombie film because I like it considerably better than the second one. And I think it was that it set its own rules. Like Michael Myers just they put his origin story together for better or worse, but they put it together and they said this is who Michael Myers is. He's out of his fucking mind.
right.
It's clearly like a poor upbringing, which has kind of led him down a really dark path. And he's just out of his mind. And he's also built like a
Yeah,
brick shithouse. They don't have him getting
yep,
shot a bunch of times where he's basically unkillable. There is a couple instances of it, but it's not like he shot him 6 times, that, and then he gets up
yeah,
and runs around,
yeah,
right? There's not that much. Um,
yeah,
but I mean, when you're Tyler Mane and you're 7 feet tall, you're basically a brick shithouse. Whereas this one brings into, he literally got shot in the head in the last film, and he's kind of fine, all things considered.
yeah, yeah. They went full. Like I feel like anyone who's doing a new take on Michael Myers eventually crosses over into the Terminator like
Yeah,
Michael Myers at
yeah,
some point. It's like inevitable. So
right.
yeah, this is
But
it starts off as like this person's a human being and then it drifts into okay, maybe not. Like
right,
and that's I feel like that's part of the franchise though. Like I feel like it always starts that way.
right,
Uh and because Michael has been that kind of like, oh, he's pure evil, sort of evil incarnate, like the shape and this whole like abstraction of the person.
mm-hmm.
Um So yeah, that doesn't bother me as
as
much.
much.
Like that
I
he
get
goes
that.
full like
That's
Terminator.
that makes sense. But then that also this movie also introduces the whole white horse, white room, white unicorn, his mother
Yeah,
dressed in white. It's just it gets so weird, and I'm just like, where? Well, I thought we were doing it the other way. Like I thought you went into painstaking detail about his upbringing to kind of like set the scene for how did he become as unhinged as crazy as he is, and then you go into this
yeah,
other. It's like, oh, guess what? Ghosts and goblins. I'm like, oh, come on.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
and then
yeah. I
just
can see that. I can
didn't
see
like
that.
the look of the film. Thought it was kind of gross. Just
Yeah.
did not. I just there was nothing I liked about this film. And that like
Mm,
other than no, I didn't enjoy very much of it. It was just there. Just really
yeah,
didn't enjoy it.
yeah,
And you know what? Back to Loomis. I hated what they did with Loomis in this movie too.
yeah.
They turned him into a
It went.
real piece of shit, and he was never that in any of the other films. He always had his agenda with Michael Myers, for better or worse, Halloween 5, but he always was kind of not a dick. I guess Halloween 5 is really an exception to that. He was quite a dick in that. But in this one, he was just he was a douchebag. That's the difference. He was a douchebag. In 5,
Yeah.
he was definitely very unhinged, and we'll get to 5. But in this one,
Oh
he was
yeah.
just a straight up douchebag, and I couldn't deal with that. It was just like, no. And then at the very end of it all, he has a turn, and it's nothing felt good about this movie to me. Did not feel as good.
He kills Loomis in this movie, right?
Yes, actually,
Like,
yes, yeah. And then they were talking about doing a sequel to this, and I believe they were going to retcon that, where it's revealed that it was actually Laurie that killed him. I think I'd read that or I'd heard that. I'd have to check my sources, but I'm pretty sure that's what I'd heard, that that was the direction they were going to go and have her kind of continue the franchise. But they
oh,
obviously didn't do a
oh.
third, so
Truly, there is no retcon in the Halloween franchise that is more shocking and hilarious than the retcon that in Halloween Resurrection. That one kills me. But
oh yeah,
but we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute.
yeah,
Yeah, so H2, yeah, we did talk about it in the last episode, but just to summarize, I don't like. I think it's we would be higher on my list. I've seen that movie once, and I thought I was actually about to watch the original Halloween 2,
yeah.
like the sequel to John Carpenter's Halloween, and I put it on, and I'm like, this movie looks brand new, and it was playing, and I'm like, oh, this isn't 19 whatever 80. When did Halloween 2 come out? 81
81 or
probably maybe
82.
something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like, this does not look like 1981.
Mm-mm.
And I realized I was watching Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, and I hadn't even seen Rob Zombie's Halloween 1, so I just left it on and watched it, and I was like, by the end of it, I was kind of scratching my head, being like, what the hell did I just watch? Unsure, but also just kind of like pleasantly surprised at how insane the movie is. And I think I kind of like that. I like it's a big swing,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
that's what I like about it. It does stand out. Um, it feels like Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 was compromised zombie, and Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 was,
Full on
I
zombie.
feel like, full on zombie. And for better or for worse, it is what it is. Would I say like it's a movie I would watch more than once? When I revisit it, maybe one more time, I'll watch it again. But I don't think it was a particularly enjoyable movie. But I think the vision was there. It was cohesive,
Yeah.
and it's just whether you like the aesthetic or not. Like I just
Yeah.
feel like the aesthetic has such a big part of zombies films that if you're not into it,
It's
you're
gonna be a rough
you're
watch.
barking up, yeah, you're barking up the wrong tree, right? Like
Yeah.
you're wasting your time. Um,
Yeah.
so that's what I enjoy about it. I enjoy that it's wildly different, and but it's not a pleasant movie. It's not
No,
like one I get excited to watch,
it's
for
not a
sure.
pleasant
Yeah.
movie. Like my number 11 pick is
Oh,
Indeed, Halloween
Tell me.
Resurrection. You know it's coming. You knew it was
All
coming
right.
low in the tier.
Right.
How,
All right.
now here's the thing I got to ask you is how much do you agree with its placement on the list where it is not the bottom? In fact, it's not even the second on my list at the bottom. It is third at the
That's
bottom.
fine. I actually look, man, I've got a fun history with Halloween Resurrection. I saw this one in theaters with a bunch of friends. So I have a bunch of friends like on like a $5 Tuesday, back when it came out, and I just have very positive memories associated with this movie.
Right, yeah.
And there is, I mean, for all the shit the movie gets, and it's, look, again, not a great movie. And
Yeah.
my capacity for, loving dog shit films is well documented on this podcast. So, take this all with a grain of salt. But I always like to say something nice about these movies, because there's a reason we come back to them. There's a reason this is such a huge franchise, right?
Right.
So even the worst movies have something going on.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, agreed.
So this one, man, look, everyone talks shit about the premise. It's a crazy premise because that house is so goddamn small. Like, that's the part that kind of like, for folks who haven't seen this one, it's basically like a reality TV show in which all the contestants wear webcams. And this is back when this wasn't really super common, right?
Right,
Like,
yeah. It was just like the cusp of that.
Yeah, we were just like on the cusp of that. And you're supposed to survive a night in, the original Myers home, and they set up a bunch of scares for these contestants without telling them. But unbeknownst to all of them, Michael has been living in not the basement, but it's kind of like a sub basement underneath the house for a long time. And when people start coming and rummaging through all of his things, he gets very irate and
He's not
comes
happy.
out, and he's not happy. And they also kill Lori in this movie in the very first scene.
Yep.
Which I thought was kind of a fun scene. At the time of watching this, I was not a Halloween fan.
Mm-hmm.
I only became a Halloween fan of like the original Halloween within the last maybe 10, 15 years. Because when I first saw the original Halloween, I thought, oh, well, we'll get to that in a minute. But, when we get there, I don't want to talk too much about that one. But anyway, this one, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that this premise is interesting because it's ahead of its time. It's kind of like, it's predicting some of the types of shows I would watch.
Yeah. That's fair.
On TV at the time. And it's just a fun, it's a fun premise. It's a dumb as bricks movie, but it's, it's fun. It's a fun premise. That house it's just comically small, but again, better than Halloween 6 because like the movie sets up its rules and follows them. Like it's not, it makes sense when you watch it. Whereas Halloween 6 just feels like, again, like a bunch of people just happened to show up in the same spot. One of them happened to have the camera and a Michael Myers costume. They're like, all right, well, let's shoot this Halloween movie.
Yeah.
This one was like, oh, somebody had a vision and it's like a complete movie.
Yep.
It's not the best movie. And, it's given us, Busta Rhymes drop kicking Michael Myers. Like, I don't know what more can you really ask for in your?
I would argue that I
film?
like Busta Rhymes' character in this a lot more than LL Cool J's. If we got to compare hip hop artists in the legacy of Halloween films, he was hard to watch in H2O.
Hip hop artists in horror films.
In horror films, I don't know.
Who else?
Stinky Fingers was Blade for a little while.
Stinky. F-I-N-G-A-Z, the crazy cage of blazing bullets for days and days and crazy and amazing. I'm the place blazing. Okay.
Well done. So, that was pretty cool. But yeah, Halloween Resurrection.
But there's been a bunch. There's been a bunch of rappers in horror films.
Oh sure, yeah.
Most recently, Kid Cudi was in X, and he's really good. He's really good in that. Anyway, yeah, back to Halloween Resurrection.
All right.
Busta Rhymes is in it. Tyra Banks is in it.
Oh yeah.
And it's you get to see there is one scene where do they have a chainsaw fight in this movie? Does he get jacked up with a chainsaw at one point? I thought that was pretty neat.
I thought he did.
She's got a chainsaw and she like cuts him up a little bit. I always thought that was pretty fun.
Yeah,
it's just not a good movie.
No, it's not a good movie. Let's be clear.
It's better than Halloween 6. I'll give you that.
it is the reason this is a little higher than the other two, and I think this is widely regarded as the worst Halloween movie, which I obviously don't agree with. It has fun with the premise, and it, like you said, it's a complete film. I think it's a pretty tight film too. Like I don't think it overstays its welcome
short.
at all. It seems short,
yeah.
and they do some plot hole gymnastics to be able to keep him alive after the ending of H2O. Because I feel like
didn't even talk about that.
I feel like they gave that to the writers and like, all right, Michael Myers is in this film. They're like, okay. In the last film, it literally ended on his severed head on the ground. You want us to write him back in? Yes. All right. Let's crush the larynx and hope nobody thinks about this too hard. It's fucking crazy what they do.
You know what I think about that? Like you said, you decapitated him. So the retcon is, when Laurie cut off his head, Michael had actually grabbed an EMT worker, crushed his larynx, changed out of his clothes, put the clothes on the EMT worker. So Laurie didn't cut off Michael Myers' head, she cut off the EMT workers.
Right.
And they use the moment where he reaches out to her in H2O, like being her brother in this particular continuity, as instead of like the brother sister thing, it was a help me, I'm not Michael
help
Myers,
me, please.
don't cut my head off thing.
Meanwhile, Michael Myers,
funny.
Former burn victim, probably missing an eye after the coat hanger, walking around and nobody gives him a second look. They're like, he should be here. And he's carrying a butcher's knife in case he needs to do surgery. It's wild. It's fucking wild what they did. It's just, it makes no sense.
The retcon is crazy, and I think that when the writers were in the room figuring this out and they landed on this, I'm almost entirely sure they all gave each other high fives and were very proud of themselves for finding this retcon. And I feel like there was high fives exchanged. They went to happy hour after cracking this particular retcon. So
I think it's
somebody
similar,
thinks they did a good job,
but I think that celebration happened after the studio's like, yeah, we'll do that. They're like, really? We don't have to think about this for any longer? All right, cool, let's do it.
Yeah,
there's no way that they came out of that feeling good about that from a work perspective, but done. But yeah,
the last thing about Halloween Resurrection is that it's unfortunately directed by is it the same guy who did Halloween 2?
It is, yes,
right?
It is. I had his name,
which is unfortunate because I think Halloween 2 is a great looking movie. Like Halloween 2 from 1981 or 1982.
Yeah.
It's a great looking movie, but mostly because he's copying John Carpenter.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
This movie does not. It's Rick Rosenthal is the director. And it's really unfortunate because wait, is Halloween Resurrection? John Carpenter is listed as a writer. That can't be right.
He's the guy that retconned it.
He's like, I got it. Hang on.
Well, nobody's gonna say no to him. They're like, you figure this out, and he's like, what? All right, here. How long did you work on this? Literally since in this conversation, I wrote this down. I gave it no thought.
No, it's not.
No, I can't imagine Carpenter.
I feel like I corrected. Send me a check. Is the check in the mail?
Yeah.
As Jack Burton would say, and he'd be okay with it. But no, I think it's just based on characters created by Deborah Hill and John Carpenter.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Anyway, so Rick Rosenthal did I thought he did decent job with the Carpenter sequel. Like, this movie doesn't have any real like filmic style, to be honest, either.
Yeah.
So all right, let's keep it moving.
Now,
keep the shit show moving.
At number 10, and I'm looking at my number 9, and I could exchange these, but I'll just keep the order that I have down here is Halloween 2. So the original Halloween 2.
Okay.
It seemed like a very lazy sequel in a lot of ways.
That's really low.
It is low, I know, but
That's really low.
I like the other films better. Like, I just do. But we'll get to why, I guess, and we can always come back to that. But like, for me, Halloween 2 I liked Loomis in it. This might be my second favorite Loomis. He's
so this is 1982 Halloween 2, like
81
to John Carpenter.
Yeah, 81. Directed by the same guy as Resurrection.
Carpenter's.
And which I got them back to back. But it seems like a lazy, I don't know if lazy is the right word, but they just kind of kept the same formula, but I didn't feel like I was invested nearly as much into any of the other characters as he was hunting down during that night. Obviously, he was in it for Laurie, and they kind of shoehorned in the brother sister relationship, which, to be honest, it never bothered me. Like, I never thought that was a thing that
Yeah.
needed to be fixed. I thought it was plausible. I mean, why is he hunting her? That's the reason. Okay, cool. That's all. If that's how you want to
Yeah.
set it up, that's fine. It never bothered me. Really didn't. But then the fodder in the hospital, just, I didn't like any of those characters. We didn't stick around with them long enough for me to actually care about them in any way, shape, or form. That's the beauty of the first film, is that you grow an attachment to some of these characters because they're not unlikable in any way, shape, or form. They all put in good performances. Nobody's hamming it up too much. And, you're kind of rooting for them to some degree, which makes, when they go a little bit, maybe not off-putting, but you care. You have an emotional reaction to it. These guys, it was just, I was there for the kills, and I just didn't feel like anything was fun, I guess, for lack of a better word. Everything just seemed very predictable. There was one good hot tub scene, i.e. the murder in the hot tub. But then the rest of it just seemed kind of blah, There's a couple of good shots. There was another good kill that I thought was really interesting, and it had a really good practical effect, which was the syringe in the eye. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, it was disgusting.
It was disgusting, but I thought that was very, very well done. But then, you have all this, you've got Loomis like kind of in the background, I feel like they underused Loomis a lot in this one, where he was just kind of sitting around in the coroner's office and waiting to go to the hospital. And then eventually he gets there, and they get him down, and everybody's just stupid and just touching people. Like, they're like, let's get up real close and not keep the gun trained on this guy. And then for some reason, Laurie takes 2 pot shots with a gun. They both go in his eye. I was just like, what are we doing? Like, this, there was just so many strange decisions about this film.
That's true.
Yeah, it does look good. Like, I don't disagree that it looks good.
I think Dean Cundy is like, I think I think he's the DP on Halloween 2.
Yeah.
So I think that really does drive a lot of the look of the film and why it looks good.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it is Dean Cundy. I just looked it up. So I was just looking at the Halloween Resurrection thing. So just real quick, this is worth it. Trust me.
Okay.
The writers of Halloween H2O 20 years later were left with a dilemma when Jamie Lee Curtis wanted to end the series, but Mustafa Akkad had a clause that legally wouldn't allow the writers to kill Michael Myers off. Okay. According to the Blu-ray released by Scream Factory, Jamie Lee Curtis almost left the production just weeks before filming until Kevin Williamson came up with the paramedic story.
Yeah.
Kevin Williamson, the writer of Scream and H2O, is the one that came up with that retcon with the paramedic and the crushing of the larynx. Presented it to Akkad. Curtis finally agreed to be a part of the film under the condition that no footage hinting towards a sequel would be presented by the film and the audience would believe that Michael was dead. Anyway, I thought it was really funny that Kevin Williamson is the one that came up with that. Anyway, let's come back to let's come back to Halloween 2. So yes, I agree. It's not the sequel that I would have wanted for Carpenter's film.
Yeah.
I love the first half of this movie where Michael is still in suburbia, still in the neighborhoods. I don't really like the hospital stuff.
Right, agreed.
It's too sterile. It's too and to say, for me, it's not bad to me. It's just not it's not in my wheelhouse. I love like the quiet neighborhoods, the like impact of what something like Michael Myers has done, what would happen in a neighborhood like that, the kind of the intrigue, the mystery, people slowly finding out about what happened, what they might do if they found out something like that happened. That stuff is very interesting to me. But they touch on some of that because Michael's still in the neighborhood at the first half. It's like the first half of the movie, maybe he's running around until some guy on a boombox, like on the radio.
Yeah.
They tell them where Laurie has been taken, and he kind of is like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, just does a quick about face.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
All right. Well.
So I think it's better than you think it is.
Probably.
but yeah, like I wanted more out of it. I'd put
Yeah.
it higher on my list. I'd love to hear what you have to say about some of these movies that are still on the list that are even higher
Exactly.
than it.
So
I'm going to accuse you.
yeah. So the next one, and this is why I said I'm not sure if I would switch this order, but I'll keep it as is Halloween Ends. And
Okay.
I think it's because it's a little fresher in my mind too, that it was just
Yeah.
like, yeah, these are the things that I could justify about it. Why it's ahead of Halloween 2, I think it's a better looking film. I liked Michael Myers in this more than I liked him in Halloween 2. I felt like
Yep.
there were, I don't want to say stakes. I think there were stakes in both of them. I'm trying to think of the right word. But just overall, it's hard for me to justify it. Like I said, it was hard for me to even make sure or justify that these were in the right order before I said them. But I think that I liked you know what it is too. The opening of Halloween Ends kills me every time. It's so good, and it kills Jeremy, which is my favorite part about the film.
Yeah, it is good.
But
it is good.
But yeah, I mean, I think that there's like to the point of there's stuff to like in Halloween 2 and there's stuff to like in Halloween Ends and there's stuff to not like in both of those films. I think that the stuff that I liked from Halloween Ends resonated better with me than the stuff I liked from Halloween 2 and vice versa. I didn't like less stuff in Halloween Ends than I didn't like stuff I didn't like in 2. You know what I'm saying? You know what the fuck I'm saying.
You went full Bilbo Baggins on
that
one.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
I liked half of you less than half of you, blah, 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 blah.
Anyway, Bilbo's drunk again.
He's 111 years old, so
he gets a pass.
Give him a break.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I disagree with you here. I feel like
it's fair.
I feel like I think Halloween 2 is probably.
See, it's a tough one. It's not that easy.
No, keep going. Keep going
in the list.
Go to the next one.
All right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we did just do a whole episode on Halloween Ends, so I don't think so.
Yeah.
Halloween 5. I would put Halloween 5 next.
Okay.
I just rewatched this one recently. The problem with Halloween 5, this might be my favorite Loomis aside from number 1. I did say number 2 might have been my favorite Loomis, but this Loomis is a lot of fun, and he's out of his fucking mind.
Oh, he is a menace.
He's a problem
to society.
He's just shaking Jamie around all the time. He's
like baby rattling her. Like he's gonna break her neck.
Yeah,
when
it's
he's
not
like
good.
Shaking her.
Like he should have been removed from the hospital anytime he walked in. They're like, you can't stay. You gotta go, buddy. Like we can't have you in here.
He is crazy.
Yeah, he's a problem. But it does have my favorite. But the problem is there's a lot of people and complaints about this character. The Tina character's annoying. The people that they hang around with are annoying. Literally everybody in this film is annoying, except for I like the sheriff, who is also the same sheriff. I think he's a sheriff. The head cop from Halloween 4. That guy. He's also in this one too, and I really like him.
He's a fucking stud.
Oh, huge
He's a stud.
Big time.
Yeah.
And I mean, and what's her name? Danielle Harrison kills it. She's great in this. In fact, I'd argue that she's better in this than in Halloween 4.
Yeah.
But I mean, it does suffer from the fact that like I just felt like there was a couple of good moments. I really like the stuff with I forgot her name, Jamie's stepsister, the stalking of her, and there was a lot of there was a couple of good surprises in there, a fake out, I guess you could say. But it all in all, we didn't spend enough time with characters in this film that I thought were worth spending time with. And I mean, I'm going to go to it probably a few times. I hated the mask in this one. It just looked off. Didn't look like it fit him well. It looked like it was a helmet. I couldn't get on board with it. Every time he was on screen, I thought he looked ridiculous. And that's kind of a big
he does look ridiculous.
Yeah.
Is this the one? Again, I saw this. I think might have seen this at your place too. But is this the one where he kills someone with a scythe?
Yes, it is in the farm, which was cool.
And the two people are having sex in there, and it's like the worst sex scene of all time.
It's
like
really
I remember
bad.
it being truly, really, really, really bad. Just hokey.
Hokey in the straw in a farm. It's just it's
Yeah,
not good.
and he comes in and he's got a scythe and he harvests these guys. So some points for giving Michael Myers a scythe. I think that's pretty cool.
That's fair. Yeah, that was it was cool to see him with that, but that didn't
The
put it
fact
higher on my list for that.
this movie upset me from the get-go by killing the heroine from the previous film.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it doesn't do that like right off the bat.
Pretty soon in, like probably the first 20 minutes. I think she's the
And they also drop the storyline of the Danielle Harris character being like having, you know, become infected with Michael's evil. They drop that whole thing.
Infected, yes, but they do keep that there is some sort of a mental connection, and that's why she can kind of like sense him and sort of see through his eyes to some degree. She has kind of these fits where they think they have to stop her heart and do I can't remember. There was a bunch of medical jargon they were throwing around, but they thought they had to do some crazy invasive procedure, and Loomis is like, no, wait, just wait, it will pass. And then it passes, and the doctor's like, science, and that's it. Like, they didn't really think much about it. But yeah, it's just it had better stuff in it than I think some of my earlier earlier movies or earlier less preferences, but overall still fairly low on the list in comparison.
I think it's appalling that this is higher than Halloween 2 in 1981. Like, I think
really
just on another fucking planet.
Oh boy.
This movie is this the movie with the Keystone Cops too, with the whistles and the
they're so
where
bad.
they come in and it's like a kazoo plays or whatever.
Yeah. The first time they're on screen, it's Bulk and Skull from Power Rangers. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a clown show.
Yeah. I feel like I should rethink
this
the placement of this one on this list. Frankly.
Yeah, you've made a grave mistake.
I think I can be convinced to bump this down below Halloween Ends and below Halloween 2. But it's here and I stand by it. Now, next on the list.
Yeah.
Halloween Kills.
Halloween Kills. Oh, fuck, buddy. We're going to have a fight now because this movie is... I love this movie.
Well, hey, okay. Hold on.
I really do.
We've talked about it in length, so maybe we don't have to talk about it too much now. But I mean, you've got a lot of good stuff in this. You've got, all the stuff that we've talked about that we like seeing the effect of Michael Myers on the entire populace, the mob mentality and the big evil dies tonight mob that just forms and they're going after the wrong person. There's just so much interesting stuff going on that we hadn't really seen at that level before. So arguably we have, but in any case, the effect that we've seen in Haddonfield in this movie was neat, and that's why it's a little higher on the list than some of the other ones.
It explores the ideas that I was hoping that the original Halloween 2 would explore, but another film in this franchise explores the impact of Michael in that suburban setting and does it way better in my opinion. We'll get to that one later, but Halloween Kills I just enjoy because it's a camp classic in my opinion. Like it's campy. It's a camp classic, and it's one that I think will endure. Like I feel like Halloween 2018 will kind of drift away, and Halloween Ends will be an interesting oddity.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about Halloween Kills that will make it. There's something about that movie's quirkiness and weirdness and like ballsiness of like just how like strange it is. That will keep it in that'll make it popular. Like mark my words, I feel like there's going to be some kind of weird resurgence for Halloween Kills at some point in the future.
Well,
the same way there's been a resurgence for Halloween 5 and 6 because there's people who like those movies.
Hate it.
Anyway, let's keep it going.
Next on my list, and this is another one I feel like I should have thought about this in terms of the placement, but here's where we're at, is Rob Zombie's first film. I will
Okay.
admit very much that this is a guilty pleasure for me, and this is my list. So this is not something you've condoned nor signed off on, and I do not think you're going to agree with this placement, and I don't think I can disagree with you too much. All I can say is, as a fan of the original, I liked this retelling of kind of the original source material in a completely fucking radical way. But then they also kind
What
of
number are we on?
oh, that's a good question. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 13. Where Halloween
Okay,
Kills
all
was
right.
7.
So it's not in the top. So it's not in the top half.
No. Well,
Okay.
kind of in the top half, right? 6. Yeah, it's kind of in the top half, but right at the bottom.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I said, I will be the first to admit this is very much a guilty pleasure. This is higher than it probably should be. But I don't. We've talked about it at length in the past too, so I'm not going to go too much into it. It's just a fun retelling of something that, and they kept it in the ballpark, but they did different things with it. Both at the top half of the movie, where it's really the rednecky origin story, and on the latter half where it's more traditional Carpenter. I thought that they respected kind of the look of the original film in the latter half to some degree, and then it gets a little grungier, but it stays not too off course. Whereas, like, if you look at the second one, I felt like just the look is just completely radical. It's like, to your point, it's just Rob Zombie being completely Rob Zombie. For that's kind of where it is on this list. This is a hard one for me to fight because I don't think that I'm right, but this is in my heart of hearts where I put it.
No, I saw this. I think I saw this in full last year, maybe for the second time, maybe. And it feels like a like 1 foot in, 1 foot out the door with Rob Zombie and his vision versus like trying to stay true to like Carpenter's original, and it's a clash of styles, I think.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate that they do try to do something different, and that's really like what a remake is supposed to do, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I almost thought it would be higher on your list, to be honest. But let's see what else you got.
Well, so coming in at number 5 is Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. It is Season of the Witch, right?
Number 5.
Number
so
5.
That's number 6. Oh, sorry. I don't know why I was counting. Okay, so that was 13, 12, 11. Is that what we're doing? Number 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Now we're on 6?
No, now we're on 5.
Sorry, now we're on 5?
Yeah.
Now we're on 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, number 5.
Season of the Witch.
This is the only film...
That's what
Oh, go ahead.
That's what I've got on right now in the background.
Nice.
On the back deck, I'm watching Halloween. Oh yeah. Oh boy.
This was a real. I slept on this one for so long because of the fact that Michael Myers wasn't in here, and I mean, this had kind of a sad long history of being like, this is the bullshit Halloween because it doesn't have Michael Myers in it. In fact, it alienated a lot of people when this one came out, and people were like, where the fuck's Michael Myers? Like, the people that saw it were confused, and then it spawned a lot of people to not see it, so the overall reception of it wasn't very good. I don't know what the critical response was at the time, but I also don't think it was great. But that was why when Halloween 4 came out, there's a much bigger deal about making it clear that, hey, Michael Myers is here, okay? Like, he's here
in the movie.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, what's there to say about this? They take a completely different swing at this. No Michael Myers, completely new characters. I don't think any of it's even based in Haddonfield. I could be wrong about that.
No, I don't think so.
But it's all about some crazy mystical sacrifice that a guy wants to do on a mass scale, and they are going to do it through mask science and robots and all kinds of crazy shit all around the Halloween season. And it had no right being as much fun as it was, but my God, like I remember watching this in my backyard on the projector, and I turned around and a skunk had stopped and was sitting next to me watching this film. And when you turn around and there's a skunk sitting down watching a film, you think one of two things is, one, holy shit, there's a skunk. I should probably get out of here, but slowly. And two is like, how good is this movie that the skunk stopped and watched this movie? But yeah, it's and I think that Tom Atkins does a wonderful job in this. He's got a really good, like, there's a moment where there's some crazy shit happening and he's just like,
yeah, yes,
I love that
you
shot.
could feel it.
Oh, you could feel it. Right through his mustache, his wispy mustache.
Yeah, he is. You can't take it that moment with what he's seeing.
No, but I
this is kind of like
it's a great film.
This is the Celtic gods.
Yes.
That they're trying to like appease or something like that. Yeah, so they're making these Halloween masks that turn, children's heads into like, nests of insects and reptiles and stuff. And there's some wild effects in this movie.
Right.
There is. And it really has some great iconography, and it's the masks that the kids wear, the pumpkin mask, the witch mask, and the skeleton mask.
Yes. Which comes
great
back
iconography.
It comes back into these films at least a few times too. They have kind of callbacks to that, or people walking around in those masks. They have it in 2018, and I think maybe
Kills.
It was in Kills too, right? Oh no, yeah, it was Kills. It wasn't in 2018. You're absolutely right.
It was in 2018. It was there.
Oh, it was okay.
Because 2018 and Halloween Kills take place on the same night. So it's just one day, right?
Right, yeah, but I mean, I don't know if they were on screen
like
that one.
They were on screen they were on screen in both. Like they have a short like cameo in 2018, and then in Kills it actually elaborates.
Yeah, they're much more featured. Yeah, little shits.
Yeah.
So I guess what are your thoughts on Season of the Witch?
I like Season of the Witch. I think the idea is, for me, the idea is way more exciting than kind of the movie itself. Like, I like the movie and I think it's fun, and it's kind of batshit, and it's so ballsy what these guys try to do. But the idea of doing a Halloween series as a anthology series, just that idea makes me so excited. I love that idea.
Yep. And they pivoted very hard away from it as soon as they could.
They absolutely did. But I get why people. I mean, I don't know how they thought they would be successful here, but Carpenter had a great idea, because I feel like this was his idea. This is what he pitched. He's like,
this is what he wanted
an anthology
to do.
Series, and this is just really cool.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I love the ballsiness of this movie.
Yeah.
Like, and the movie itself is just, I'm watching it right now. There's just crazy shit.
It's wacky.
Happening.
It's so goddamn wacky.
Someone just tore someone else's head off like a dog.
Yeah, I think that's Mike from Breaking Bad, actually. It's a pretty wild movie. If you haven't checked it out, because Michael Myers is not in it, I certainly encourage you to do so. It is much better than you think. Because I was ignorant. I was ignorant to how good this film was for the longest time because of that reason. So I would wholeheartedly endorse this movie.
And the ending.
Oh, it's so good.
The ending of this film, not to ruin anything, the ending of this movie is really, really great.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Really great. That's all I'll say. Yeah.
All right, so number 4 on my list, which is ironically the 4th Halloween film to come out, chronologically, I guess, is Halloween 4: The Return of Michael Myers, which
which number is this?
This is number 4, Halloween 4. So this is the 4th on my list.
Okay.
I will say this: the next 3 movies that you're going to see, because I'm sure you know what my number 1 is, but the next 3, I had a very hard time ordering it. I do stand by this because I did put enough thought into it. I think that this is my final ordering. This does have a very nostalgic place in my heart because I think this was the first true horror film that I saw ever. I saw it at a buddy's place. I recall this very, very vividly because I remember being scared shitless of the movie. I remember being scared shitless of Michael Myers, and I remember very much being scared shitless at the ending of this film. And it's a great looking film. There's some really good suspenseful moments. I don't feel like it goes way over the top in anything it's doing, probably for most, if not all, of the film. And it seems very grounded. Like, that was the thing I kind of liked about this, is Michael Myers isn't kind of this undead tank. He's not, he's popping up in the shadows and stalking people, but there's nothing happening that I'm just like, come on, like, I thought that
there's one thing that happens where you're like, kind of, come on, they just kind of gloss over it, because I just watched this movie a few days ago.
Yeah.
And he definitely kills every cop in a police station, Terminator 1 style.
I was gonna say, now my biggest gripe about this movie is that scene. Sorry, you know what? I take back everything I just said about that. I'm thinking more about like when he's stalking them at the house or through the city and stuff like that. But then again, I'm also leaving out the fact that he crushes some guy's skull with his thumb, and he kills somebody with a shotgun, but not how you would think. And he didn't read the manual.
He's like, I can just see him when he's got the shotgun. He looks at it and he can't get it to work. He's like, fuck it.
Yeah. He's like, well, I need to stealth mode engage, and then he nails her so hard the house must have shaken, because that thing went through the wall and hard. But yeah, my biggest gripe about that is I wanted to see, like, when all of a sudden they get to the police station, that was my first thought, was the first Terminator, thinking, how is this not on film? Which is super disappointing, because I would have loved to have seen that. Which would have, I guess.
What you need to do is, when it gets to that point, at the point in the movie when that scene is supposed to happen, just switch to Terminator 1.
Yeah.
And just watch that scene, or switch to Malignant.
I haven't seen Malignant. Don't tell me anything.
Okay.
It's been on.
All right.
Been queued up.
Anyway, you gotta check that one out. The last 20 minutes of that movie are just worth everything. It's great. So yes, I really like this movie, and in fact, this movie is in my top 3.
Yeah. Yep.
For me.
Yep. That's fair.
I just saw it again recently, and the vibe off this movie, it captures the Halloween vibe. That time of year is captured way better in this film than it is in Carpenter's original and the sequel to Carpenter's original.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
it feels cold, and I think Jamie Lloyd, like Laurie's daughter, and her stepsister are fantastic. I think the stepsister, and I can't remember her name, life of me, her character's name, but
Rachel?
Is Rachel.
Rachel?
Yes, Rachel. Because I can picture Jamie screaming Rachel.
Rachel.
Yeah.
Rachel. So I'm actually going to have to respectfully disagree with you on Danielle Harris. I thought, Danielle Harris is the actress, right? Did I screw that up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought she was very good at times, but there were times where it was kind of rough.
What?
Yeah.
No. My God.
For sure.
In the first one. She's great in this.
She's good, great. But you can also tell that she's very young in this. Also, it's hard. Young in her acting career. Obviously, she was young too. But some of it just came off as very cardboard, very stiff. There was no emotion behind the eyes, man. There was just kind of like reading lines for some of it. Some of it she was fantastic, but it was inconsistent. I thought 5 she nailed it all the way through, and they were giving her complicated stuff to do in 5. What?
Dude, 5 just looked like her performance made me uncomfortable because of like, it was so good to the point where I'm like, I think she's really
terrified of Loomis, and having,
she's really being like death rattled by Loomis.
Yeah, but like she was having those like uncontrollable like kind of seizures, and like that's hard to pull off and not look absolutely ridiculous. I just saw H2O literally today, and there's a moment where one of the characters gets stabbed, and he's just rattling around. It looks ridiculous, But she was doing that multiple times in Halloween 5. I'm like, this is good. And then you watch Halloween 4 and just
Yeah.
it's not I don't feel like her performance is as mature as she was in 5. And that's fine. I mean, I'm child actors are child actors. You're going to get hit or miss on that. And I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
she was good for the most part. Just some of it took me out of it. It felt stiff. And I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. I judge some of these movies on how much I like or dislike The Mask. That Mask actually knocked this down maybe one slot on my list because I think that The Mask looks
Yeah, it's
fucking
not good.
ridiculous.
It's not good, and it's fucking pink in one scene in this movie
Oh
where
yeah,
everyone
yeah,
was just high. Everyone just did a bunch of pot, and they're like, "All right, bring in the mask, let's shoot the scene." And
yeah. They
they
brought the
got
wrong mask.
a hot pink mask on his head, and nobody noticed.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, so you know what? I want to talk more about this, but let's keep going on
yeah.
your list.
I would do a
I
deep
want to
dive
actually
on
hear
this.
your top.
So
I want to hear your top three.
top
Just like
three. Number
go rip
three,
through them.
number three is Halloween 2018.
Okay.
Two is Halloween H2O, and the first is
Okay.
Halloween. So
Wow.
a quick blurb about all
Hey.
of them. 2018 I really like. I really really like. I thought that okay, so actually let me go kind of top down. The first so like I said, Halloween 4 was the first one that I'd ever watched, and it really like scared me, got me interested in it. And then I eventually not went to go see, but I saw the original Carpenter film. And it hooked me, and I still to this day I'm not really sure what resonates with me so well, but there's few movies that I can watch yearly. Like I could literally watch this movie once a year and I won't stop watching it. Like once I sit down and watch it, I'm like I'm
Yeah.
watching this all the way through.
Yeah.
It's tight. It knows what it's trying to do. I think everybody brings their A game to every single every actor in this is perfect. I thought they were good all the way through. The kids were on point. Like back to child actors, like these kids were believable. They felt natural. They felt like they were scared. Like this I thought it was great.
Yeah.
And you see flashes of kind of like the heroine that Jamie Lee Curtis can be, and Laurie Strode, and to kind of skip ahead on my rankings, you see that again in Halloween H2O, but ramped up. There's a moment in H2O where you see her kind of going full on Ripley, where she
Yeah.
basically is just like, fuck it, it's him or me, let's do this. Sends
Yeah.
their kids out, locks the gate, fucking smashes the lock. Like he's not getting it. It's one of us
Yeah.
is coming out of this. And I
Yeah.
loved that. I loved that she was just like fully embracing it. She starts off traumatized, barely able to go on, functioning alcoholic, to just this really strong female character, which realistically, she was never that strong female character. She was strong enough to get by. She fought back, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
more out of survival as opposed to like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm going head on this.
Yeah.
Whereas then you skip ahead to Halloween 2018, which is my third pick, and it's just that to the next level. It's just straight on survivalist, straight on ready for everything, to the point where her sanity is completely jeopardized because of all this. Like she's completely over prepared now at this point. I always thought that journey of Laurie was interesting, and anyways, that's just a kind of a quick overview of my rankings there. So I'll turn it back to you. You tell me what you think about that and where those fall on your list.
Sure. I just like the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis was able to play Laurie, and she played two different types of results of trauma. Like she's done H2O, which is a different reaction to having a traumatic experience, and then you have Halloween 2018, which is a different response. I always like the two. I know a lot of people will, and even she has said that backtracked on H2O a little bit in terms of the character of Laurie being kind of a recluse, and going into hiding kind of thing, changing her name and stuff, and people will be like, yeah, she's got to be like full on Ripley like she is in Halloween 2018. I like that take.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah,
but I do not think that makes the take in H2O any less effective. I actually think the take in H2O was quite good, and is believable, and in fact is somehow more nuanced, because she starts as this recluse, but she's forced back into this situation and she takes it head on, and it has a great ending. I think
Yes.
H2O has a fantastic ending,
Yep.
and what a great what a great way to send off immediately shit on by Halloween Resurrection that comes on after it. But like it's just
Yeah.
it is a fantastic ending.
Yeah.
And I think H2O is pretty good. Actually, I
Yeah.
like H2O. I like Halloween 4 more than H2O.
That's fair.
Um,
I agree. I can see that.
so I think my top three is. So I don't like Carpenter's Halloween's number one. Like I feel like that's not even like a question here.
Yeah.
But then I think it's one for in maybe even like this one's hard. Like maybe even Season of the Witch, and then
Yeah.
H2O.
That's so
Like
like I said, those the I can see Season of the Witch being put ahead of 2018, for instance. I think I'm placing maybe 2018. I put 2018 above Halloween 4, below H2O, because H2O also has more nostalgia for me as well. But
yeah.
but
H2O has the same for me because that was old enough to go to
to the
see that
theater.
movie when it came out
Yes.
on
Yeah.
VHS. Well, I didn't go to the theater. I
I
saw
saw
it on
that one in the
VHS at home
theater.
with a bunch of friends. Oh,
So
did you?
that's
Yeah.
and I think that was the first horror movie I saw in a theater. That's the thing that got me. Plus,
Yeah.
me and my buddies had
Yeah.
jokes about it. My buddy C would, oh my god, there was this moment. I'm trying to remember it now, but he basically popped up in a window just like that moment where
Yeah.
like in the trailer. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, he
Yeah.
did that, and it's just I don't know. So it's kind of
Someone
burned in my
scared
brain.
me too, just like that. Actually, a friend of ours, while we were watching it, creeped up on the back patio window and was standing there and scared all of us while we were in the living room. So
Amazing.
those are fun memories, and they're associated with H2O, and I mean to a certain extent, Halloween Resurrection as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, like I gotta watch H2O again. I think because I think my brother watched it again recently, didn't he?
It's on
Was it him
Netflix,
or was
man.
it
It's easy to
Nader?
watch. You could literally do it like right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, you know what just came on is the test scene, the test room scene
Oh, lovely.
from Halloween 3, Season of the Witch,
Yeah.
which is the one that made it to my supercut. And it's just a very upsetting, it's a very upsetting scene. Anyway, sorry. So back to this. So why do I like Halloween 4 so much? I like Halloween 4 so much because that is the sequel. I would jump from Halloween 1 to Halloween 4.
Yeah, that's
Like
fair.
I could skip Halloween 2 and be okay with it because I feel like that's the sequel that I want, that plays to all of my sensibilities. It's kind of why I like Halloween Kills
Hmm.
a lot too, because it deals with that same sort of material, but in like an insane kind of way. Whereas Halloween 4 definitely takes a little bit more of a grounded approach. But there are things in Halloween 4 that they hint at that, oh my God, like I absolutely love. Like there's more than one scene with multiple Michael Myers
Yes.
in that
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
And I was
Absolutely.
like, they hint at it, and then they take it away. And I was like, ooh, like
I knew that. I mean, you got to be
that's such a
realistic, though.
good
You knew they were going to
idea.
take that away, but I mean, the idea, like I remember seeing that and thinking, "Oh, what is happening right now?" Like it had a really good, like,
Yeah,
"Oh shit" moment, and then yeah, they did take it
yeah.
away, but also, what did you expect? Did you think that all of a sudden there was just going to be more? Like, it just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but I like that's the next logical place, and the same with the Scream franchise as well. I'm
Mm.
waiting for the cult moment. I'm waiting, not the cult of Thorn moment. We got that one, and it wasn't very good,
Yeah.
but the cult moment where we have multiple followers, and there's more than one. There's more than one Michael. It's not more than one Michael. It's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just
other people,
other people doing what he
but
does
just
best.
that notion. Yeah, just that notion, and this whole the characters are so well done. The relationship between the stepsisters is so well written, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It feels real. Like it feels like real. And she's such a great heroine. She does so much crazy stuff in this movie. And this
Yeah.
entire sequence that they have Oh, I love even like Loomis coming to the sheriff and like he tells
Yeah.
him, and the sheriff
Yep.
believes him right
Right
away. Like
away.
takes a little bit of convincing, but like believes him right away. Man, I just love that. He's like, okay, let's go, and they do, and they take actions that make mostly like the movie isn't perfect without kind of its mechanical flaws, but
Right.
they make decisions that make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Most of the time they do. They even do sort of the lynch mob thing, which is great, and it's kind of funny, and it's a little funny what happens, and that poor guy that gets, Ben Tramer and this guy are the real victims of like the Halloween franchise, but that gets shot by the lynch mob. But
Mhm.
yeah, they do the lynch mob stuff. And the atmosphere is great, and then the whole sequence they have in the house,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
again I think is like a fantastic setup where it's like
Yes.
lock it down,
Yeah.
board it up. I'm like, yes, this is what you need to do. Get on the radio, call in the cavalry. Yes. Then they find really dumb reasons to have the sheriff leave. They find really dumb reason to have Loomis leave. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
But the sequence is still tight, I think. And they have these shots where I didn't even notice it the first time I watched it, but Michael's just lurking in the background of some of the frames,
Yeah.
like off to the side. He's
Yeah.
just lurking in the background. And like I didn't notice it the first time I watched it, I only
Yeah.
noticed it after. And I was like, man, this is like really, really great stuff. And then the sheriff gets to use that fucking automatic shotgun. I've
Yeah.
been waiting the whole movie. He's got this massive fucking shotgun. I'm like, please, please let him use it. And at the end, Michael finally gets like completely lit up,
Yeah.
like at the end of the movie, and he's using the shotgun, and the shotgun is an automatic one. You see him going boom, 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 just like I was like, I've always wanted to see that. I've always wanted to see Michael just stand there and get lit up by a firing squad,
And he
and like
did.
what would happen.
Yeah, he absolutely
He
did.
goes flying.
Yeah.
And then again immediately shit on by the sequel where he like falls into like an underwater
Yeah,
cavern
yeah.
where it's like brought him back to life
And
by
takes
some
a
homeless shaman.
yeah, takes a 1 year nap and then he just sleeps it off.
Yeah,
Halloween
but
2018 is not
but yes,
on that list though for you in the top 3
no.
or even
So
top 4
so
it sounds like.
2018, yeah, 2018, I liked when I first saw it, and I listened. Like our review of it is there if you want to go see it. I'm like kind of glowing about it. I do like the movie. I did like it a lot. But in subsequent viewings, I like it still. I think it's a fun movie, but I think it doesn't. I think sometimes I feel like it doesn't do enough differently.
Yeah, that's
I think
fair.
it feels a lot like
The Force Awakens.
A new Terminator movie, or Force Awakens,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
new the one with Linda
Jesus.
Hamilton.
Oh,
Sorry,
oh,
what
yeah,
was
yeah.
it?
The one. Yeah.
Yeah, the one with Linda Hamilton coming back, and
Yeah.
and it just kind of feels a little bit of like too many callbacks kind
Right.
of thing.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
still like the movie. I like the way it looks, and I like the way it sounds. The score is great, and the visuals are really good.
Yeah.
And it's got, but on subsequent viewings, like I don't return to that one as much as I return to Halloween Kills. Like
Yeah, that's fair.
and or as much as how as I would return to Halloween 4. So um, that's kind of I think where I stand on that.
Mm.
I like Halloween 4 quite a bit. So 1 is great. Again, 1 I used to think was boring.
Yeah.
I used to think 1 was boring back in the day. Like
Yeah.
it's like, there's nothing's really happening. But I loved the visuals. I'm such a visual person, so I
Yeah.
loved the mask. I loved like how he looked. But I always just thought 1 was boring. It's only recent, like I said, last 10, 15 years, where I was like, oh, let me watch this again. And a lot of it actually has to do with you, because you really liked Halloween.
Yeah.
Like really liked it.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Like I need to watch this movie again and kind of like get it. And then I got it, and then something just clicked.
Yeah.
Like I was watching it one time and it just clicked.
Yeah.
What I really love about Carpenter's Halloween is that elapse of time over the course of the day. Like
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
sunny, and he's creeping around the neighborhood, and he's making his presence known, but he's doing the stalking thing.
Yeah.
And you see him, they're in the car driving around, and now the sun is setting and it's coming in through the trees. And I'm just
Right.
like, this is I'm such a sucker for that stuff. Like, but I didn't really put that together,
Yeah. It's
before.
it's got a very crisp and a very clean look to it all throughout the film. And you get a very nice sense of different colors and the progression of the day. Like the movie starts, they have those pictures of like, I got one for Terminator 2 where it's like the colors of the movie. You kind of do frame by frame, you average it out. I would love to see what that looks like for Halloween. I'm sure I could find that somewhere. But I feel like it would be a very, very like nice and even kind of progression of color throughout the film, because I think it goes from black to very, very bright daytime and then to kind of a little orangey towards the latter part of the day and then just black again. I think it would be very, very uniform all the way through. I think it'd be like a very interesting thing to look at. But
And that's what captured me
mm-hmm.
when I saw it again, like 10, 15 years ago, and I watched it again. I was like, oh, I think I really like this movie. Like all of a sudden it kind of like hit me like a ton of bricks. Like I think I really like this movie.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the nighttime with kind of like those shadow play and the way the movie looks. Just I don't know, man. Like it's fantastic. So I just wanted to mention that because it's the progression of time.
Yeah.
For that movie that really, I think, sets it apart, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think 1, 4, maybe Season of the Witch, H2O, and then 2018. Fuck it, I'm putting Halloween Kills above. I'm getting Halloween Kills up there. Like I'll throw Halloween Kills up there, man.
That's all right.
Let's be honest. Out of all of these movies, the ones I'm going to rewatch the most, just rewatch.
Yeah.
It's going to be 1, 4, and Kills. Those are the ones I'm going to be rewatching the most.
Even not H2O though. Oh man, I love H2O. I could rewatch that.
You're actually convincing me now. Like I might throw on H2O. Like yeah.
Do it.
I might throw on H2O. Like you're convincing me to about that one.
It's worth.
I do like that,
man. Just the moment where she yells out Michael's name after she locks down the facility is just to me. I was just like, "Fuck yeah, let's do this."
It's a very screamy movie too. It's like it's shot in that way. Like it's the Marco Beltrami score, I think, for that film as well.
Yeah.
And Kevin Williamson wrote it. Yeah. I gotta rewatch that. Maybe I'll throw that bad boy on.
Hell yeah, do that. Anyways, that's my list. For better or worse, I don't think there's much else to say about it. I think we said enough. Any closing remarks?
No. I don't know. This was kind of fun. Like it's a lot of movies. It's the fact that there are 13 movies in the Halloween franchise.
It's crazy, right?
And now that Miramax has the rights, we're probably going to get more stuff. But yeah, like it's kind of cool to have this conversation, especially we're like, again, like being outside and getting that. It's just like there's something about this type of talk in this type of environment with this type of weather that I like really latch onto, that I really enjoy. There's something weirdly and oddly sort of comforting about that type of atmosphere, and that's my love for horror is very much
cemented
lives in that space.
That makes sense.
Which is just the weirdest. It's just like the weirdest thing. So it's just really, it's kind of fun to talk about. It's kind of like the same way in the summer where if we talk about like Friday the 13th, it just feels right. It just feels like the right thing to talk about during that time.
100%.
So, yeah, this was really cool.
Sweet. Well, I got nothing else to say other than happy Halloween. Yeah.
Have a happy, safe Halloween. I don't know. Maybe we'll throw some pictures up of our Halloween setups because you're gonna have something going on too, right?
Yeah. I just did a quick proof of concept today, and it's looking about right. So yeah, we'll put something up.
Nice.
Sweet.
Cool.
All right. Well, this has been Justin. Thank you for listening, watching, and we'll see you next time.
Peace, everyone.
Later. Bye.